Welcome everybody to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Kris Keefer, Steve Matthes with me. This is the world launch of the 2024 Triumph TF250X. It's a lot of letters, I know, but that's what they gave us. And we are at Gatorback Motocross Park. This place has been around a long time. I'm sure this guy has been here quite a few times, yeah?
Yeah, last time we had a national in 97, I was a mechanic here, and then I rode here in 98. And then in 99, I wrenched for Ryan Morris at the Mini O's. So yeah, Gatorback, catch the fever.
When you said you rode, did you race or did you just ride?
Just rode a practice day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this has been a long time coming. A lot of you YouTubers, you guys out there saying, oh man, it's been too slow. The slow roll thing, didn't like it, but now it's here. The Triumph is here. We've been seeing Jalek Swall, Evan Ferry race it on the AMA Supercross circuit. So now us mere mortal guys get to ride it here at Gatorback, as well as across the way, Diamondback facility. So there's two tracks for us to ride here. But first things first, I'm just gonna lay this out here. I might have had some time on this bike prior to today.
Might, just a little bit?
Imagine that.
Imagine that, yeah. Real unbiased test here, folks.
Yeah, Yamaha guy over here. And for me, been about a year and a half on the Triumph, helping the guys develop the motorcycle a little bit. So I wanna get that out there right now. So if you guys think I'm full of crap or I'm trying to sell you on this thing, there are many other media outlets that you can go to and check out. You can just push stop right now and just continue on with your life, or stick around, hear what I have to say, Steve has to say. I'm gonna give you guys a lot of nuggets that I've been trying to reiterate to the Triumph guys for the past year and a half. So there's gonna be a lot of quality information within this video, but if you don't believe me, feel free to move on. So yeah, all new machine. It's not a KTM. We went to the presentation last night and they were very adamant about there's a lot of unique parts to this machine.
Yeah, I feel like they got a little bit stung by some criticisms early on in the process, right?
Yep.
And they're reacting to that. This is an all-new bike, all new development in England. Some of the things on it are strictly unique to Triumph, which is really cool to see. They focused on weight. They're very proud of the weight of this production bike. It seems like it's pulling whole shots and it's been fast from what we've seen in Europe and in Supercrosses so far, so I'm anxious to try the motor out. But yeah, these guys, this is an all-new bike from the ground up, and a 450 is coming. So exciting times for the sport of motocross.
So when you start a brand, right, like Triumph is all new to our industry in the motocross world and the off-road world. They are making enduro models coming soon. Of course, the 450 is coming soon. What they said in the presentation is they take inspiration from all of the brands, right? If you're gonna build a motocross machine, they said, why not look at everything out there and try to take some inspiration from the brands that they think are the best. So here we are. We have an aluminum frame, we have KYB suspension, we have Brembo brakes, and there's a lot of unique parts to this machine, but you can kind of see similarities from other brands, which for me, as a rider, is kind of cool. He's a Yamaha guy, so of course he's gonna love KYB suspension.
Yeah, suspension's gonna be great, fantastic. Maybe they should have turned the motor around. No, but listen, I'm not an ideal test rider weight for this machine.
250F debut.
250F debut for me. I just wanted to come out here because I think what the Triumph guys are doing is cool. Carmichael's here, Stanton's here, Hot Sauce is here, Clemente Sal is here, Ivan Cervantes is here. Like, the bench racing is going to be amazing. So I'm super stoked to have all these guys here and ride the track. And yeah, again, this suspension may be a little soft for me.
So we're going to go ride right now and ride both tracks. We're going to come back, break down the bike even more. Steve's going to give his opinion. I'm going to give you some insight on this bike, a little bit of backstory, as well as what I think this bike's strengths and weaknesses are, because it's not just about everything Triumph. There are some weaknesses, of course, so we're going to talk about all those and see where it fits in to this group of 250F motocrossers in 2024, so stick around. right, guys, wraps it up here at Gatorback on the Triumph TF250X. So a couple cool things I want to bring to light here. They are going to have an app where you guys can tune your motorcycle. So I thought that was really cool. It's called the MX Tune Pro. That will be out just like Kawasaki has, Yamaha has. You'll be able to do that. Unlike Yamaha, you actually have to purchase the app with the motorcycle. I think it's 290 some bucks, so $300. But the benefit is if you get another Triumph in the future, 250, 450, you can connect that tool to any Triumph that you get. So that's just something that I wanted to bring up before we start talking about the bike. I will say Steve made it out safely today. Rode both tracks, jumped most of the jumps, hasn't ridden a 250, looked decent. Didn't get to make fun of him that much because I thought it was going to be worse, but it actually was pretty good, so good job.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a little above the ideal weight for a 250F, so we cranked the spring down as much as we could. We turned the clickers in as much as we could, and yeah, I got to ride the bike, man. It was really cool to ride a world launch of a new motorcycle from the ground up.
Yep.
So it was super cool to be here. I liked the bike. It seemed really fast. For me, a little slow off bottom, again, because of my weight, but then, man, was I impressed mid to top. The thing really took off. I was really impressed with the motor, and then just getting on a 250F for me, man, you can just turn wherever you want. You can just lean it over, decide to go in, decide to go out, whatever. That was really cool. I had a fun day today, and the track was great. Gatorback was really good today.
That's probably a better Gatorback than what you're used to.
I don't remember this Gatorback ever existing for the Nationals people. So thanks to Win, Kern, and everybody at Gatorback.
Yeah, did a great job. So thank you to Triumph as well, having both tracks open. So that was kind of nice. So for me, again, yes, I've been riding this bike quite a bit. I'm not here to sell you on the bike. Let Ricky Carmichael, Cervantes, DeSalle, let those guys sell you on the motorcycle. I'm just here to tell you what I think it's like to ride compared to the others, because I know you guys out there, that's the number one thing you want to know about. It's like, what's it like compared to a KTM? What's it like compared to a Yamaha? So starting with the engine, kind of what Steve was saying, it has a KTM-esque feel to it, right? So it does have more bottom end than a KTM to me. Has a little bit more pickup down low, not as much as a Yamaha. I feel like once we're clearing that corner out of low end, the mid to top climbs harder and longer than a KTM and a Yamaha. So I think it's a little bit of a blend of a Yamaha and a KTM put together if those two had a baby. So I have more response. Second gear is quite responsive. Third gear is, to me, I don't think I could pull third gear around this track today. I don't think you could as well. Second gear was most usable.
On the other track, I thought I could get
it was
the
okay?
third. Yeah.
But what this motor package does, it gives you more recovery. So a little bit of a fan of the clutch, and it's back up in the RPMs really quick, has more response. To me, coming with a Get ECU, you don't see stock motorcycles coming with ECUs already to rock and roll. So that is something unique to the Triumph brand. Not only all these other special parts like Brembo, KYB, but having a Get ECU tuned to this motorcycle, as well as you can get the whole other accessories that are involved too with Triumph. So you can get the launch control system with 10 launch controls. You have different maps you can go to. Again, you can go to that Triumph tool and adjust how you want your power to be. But for me, in stock form, it is a little bit more powerful than a KTM, and it just, for me, just more response. So I have more of a crisp feel, a little bit longer pull. To me, third gear is still not usable enough to lug around, similar to an old Yamaha, but nonetheless, second gear is very long and actually, for me, very usable. Going up to the finish line table, did you jump that today?
No.
Did you feel like you had enough power coming out of that corner up there?
All the way.
Okay, so second gear, did you shift to third in that pocket?
Yes.
And it was okay?
Yes, fine. Yep.
I heard a couple other media guys say maybe it was a little bit low on power once they shifted third, but for me, if you're up in the higher RPM range, has no problem pulling. It loves to live up on top end. It loves that.
Yeah, I felt like I felt mid to top was where this bike wanted to ride and where it worked best. And again, not riding a 250F a lot, like it felt like I'm like, hey, can this thing handle it? And you're just kind of pinned and going through the gears. And yeah, it definitely works pretty well that way. I tried the quick shift mode on the ignition. I thought that worked really well. I tried the two different maps that come with it as well. I liked the map that was not lit, so I don't know which one what that means. But there's two maps preloaded on there as well, and a quick shift, traction control, launch control as well, which I didn't do any starts. But Yeah, I did like the clutch. Hydraulic clutch, Brembo, really nice.
Yep.
Worked well. So I'm a fan of hydraulic stuff. I have one on my Yamaha, and I think I like it.
Yeah, so going off what Steve said about this cluster right here, I'm not a fan of the shape of it. It's kind of blocky, a little bit ugly for me, long and big. I think we can condense that down a little bit, but Steve liked light off, which is map 1. That's probably the most power you're gonna get out of the pre-programmed 2 maps that you have. Light on, I feel like, is a little bit of a longer pull, but maybe not as quite of a low end hit. I like quick shift. Normally I don't talk about quick shift that much because on the KTM, it has a little bit of a cutout. When every time you go to shift into a gear and slam it in, it just cuts out a little bit. This bike doesn't do it as much as the KTM. I feel like they dialed it in a little bit better. So that is quite nice. And one thing I want to point out that I disliked, it is tough to get into 3rd gear when I'm accelerating out of a corner. I really had to use the clutch. I had to 4-finger this thing a little bit just because I couldn't shift the 3rd gear right away.
Does it need to go Jody?
I don't know.
Do we need one tooth?
I mean, it might need a tooth, but for me, I still don't think you'll be able to pull 3rd gear. So I like the length of 2nd because you got to downshift into 2nd anyway with this motor. So I like the usability of 2nd gear. I just think it needs to shift into 3rd a little bit cleaner. And quick shift, pushing that does help that along a little bit. So in the realm of engines, guys, it's in the ballpark. I'm not gonna say it's the best engine there is right now, but from my experiences that I've rode a lot of the bikes when I tested, it was on par, and there's a lot of features that I liked more about this engine than other brands, such as Blue Crew, Steve.
Okay, well.
We're just gonna skip over that.
See about that.
Okay. Chassis, they really highlighted the chassis yesterday in the presentation about how light it is. It's 30 pounds.
They're very stoked on the horsepower to weight, to the weight ratio on this bike and the lightness of this bike. They're very proud of that.
Yep.
You can see in picking a 100 tire, picking the ACF bars from Pro Taper, they've really focused on weight. They're big on that, and I understand it. I mean, the bike feels light.
Yes. So let me rephrase it. 8.6 kilograms, which is 19 pounds. The frame is weighing 19 pounds. So that is quite light if you're just weighing a frame. The whole bike itself is 230 pounds. So that is right in the ballpark of all these others, and it's on the lighter side. So you do feel that on the track. I don't know if you'll be able to feel that, but for me, whipping the bike, changes in the air, what we call flickability, lots of that within this bike, and ease of leaning into the corner, very light feeling. Comments?
Yeah, I agree, but I didn't know if that was a 250F thing or a Triumph thing, but man, if you come into a turn that's kind of got a couple of ruts and you just back off for a second and get back on it and throw your shoulders into it, the thing will carve no problem. It felt so lightweight to me. Again, I'm coming off a 450, but holy smokes, you could really get in and out anywhere you wanted at any time. And again, I don't know if that's a Triumph or a 250F thing for me, but I was impressed. And I remembered, I was telling you, I was way less tired on this thing. I did a 20-minute moto to kind of start the day, and I was way less tired on this thing than I remember being on a 450. So I don't know. Maybe
could we build you a fast 250? You may like that.
Maybe that's the move. I don't know. We'll see.
A lot of older guys are doing that. So for me, lightweight feel, chassis has a lot of comfort within the chassis. Today, not so many bumps, but I have ridden this bike on a bumpy track. You can go to my YouTube channel. We did a test in Etchikani, which is in Georgia, which is sand, lots of bumps. So within this frame, it has a lot of comfort. Maybe the only one caveat for me is we're talking about that lean, that initial lean in the corner is really light, but maybe area 2, when I really got to dive in deep, there is a little bit of a heavy feel, but I think personally it's in the tire. It's a narrow 100 tire. You put a little bit of a wider tire, a 110, and that helps that feeling in area 2. But overall, has a lot of front end feel in the corners. It's fairly balanced.
Well, you know too, the KYB stuff that this bike's come spec'd with, it's proven. It's been basically what Yamaha has, and it's been proven over the years. It's a spring fork. It is a solid set of components, front and rear, and then of course you got to dial it into how you want. But they started with a good package.
Yes, so KYB for me, I've always leaned that way when I had bikes. I like that feel. We're working on a 4.7 Newton millimeter fork spring and a 5.6 rear shock spring. That's what we got. So I think Steve needs to go up on the spring rate a little bit.
A little soft for me, folks, but again, not the ideal weight.
So within that spring rate, I think it fits a wide range of rider. Obviously, I think we're off the spectrum a little bit with Steve, but for me, it is a little bit soft in the rear. I have to go up to 102 millimeters of sag, kind of bring that rear up. It has that KTM low acceleration feeling as I'm accelerating out of a corner, so I like to bring my rear end up a little bit, drop my forks to 3 millimeters, and that is a nice, comfortable on-off throttle chassis feel. Last thing I want to do is come into a corner, chop the throttle, and have that thing dive on me, especially when you have deep conditions like that. So still having 102 millimeters of sag and then clicking the fork in a little bit helps me out a lot. So it has a softer, lively feel. It moves a lot in the stroke, but it has fairly good hold up. I mean, we're just out here right now watching Clement Desalle hammer the crap out of this thing, and he looks fairly good on it.
Yeah, you know what's cool?
Yes.
Yogi was here, Stanton is here, Desalle is here, Ricky Carmichael is here, Hot Sauce is here, Cervantes is here.
Yep.
Really cool deal from Triumph. They've surrounded themselves with a lot of really cool ambassadors and ex-pros, and they're doing this right, it feels like. It was a real cool time to have everybody here and talk to them about the bike and the different development stages and everything else. So kudos to Triumph. They got some really cool guys behind the scenes that, you know, it's costing them money and it's spending money, but they're trying to do it right, and you can see that.
Yeah, and in the presentation, you know, they talked about how committed they are to our industry, our motocross world. They're not going to be here 1 minute and out the other. They have a long-term plan. They want to develop these motorcycles. They want to be the best. So they've hired a lot of good people within the team to try to make that happen. So to come out with a motorcycle, and for me, again, you don't have to believe what I say, but I think it's a really good package to come out with and introduce, like, hey, we're here. It's a good motorcycle. You'll have fun on it. It's competitive in the engine department because that's what you need in the 250F world. You need to have a fast engine, and it complements with a good chassis. You know, we have a lot of fast engines in this class, but maybe the chassis aren't as good. And I think now the chassis is good, the engine is fast, so there's a lot of comfort and performance within this machine. A couple things I dislike, because I'm all about that. The seat kind of eats my ass up a little bit.
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that now, currently.
So a little bit of monkey butt, so this fairly aggressive seat, so you might want to tone that down. But nonetheless, the foam itself, the density is nice. It's just, I feel like it's aggressive. They call it the MX Race ACF Pro Taper Bar. That's the name of the bend. It's a little bit long, but I like the bend. It's a lower bend, but pretty flat. You're okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And the sound of the motorcycle?
Sound is weird.
Weird.
Weird. Not good, not bad. It's
Okay.
different. It's got a different exhaust note than a lot of bikes.
I like to use the word racy. It sounds very racy, deep, throaty, loud, but not like KX250 stock pipe loud. It's not like that. So I do like the sound of that. And of course, ODI lock-on grips, Brembo brakes. You mentioned something about the brake earlier. Did you have a problem with that?
No, I didn't. But I'll tell you one thing I don't like.
Okay.
Torx screws on the adjusters. So for the front brakes and the clutch and everything else, Torx. So I don't know. I have Torx, but most people probably don't have Torx.
Americans don't have Torx.
And then if we got a T-handle. I want a T-handle. I got to get a Torx, and we got to get some 8s.
So I will counter something with you. So dislike, agreed. What I do like, I need to repack my muffler. Oh, look.
Yeah.
We can actually take the damn thing apart because it's not riveted on.
That's a cool feature, absolutely. The fit and finish of the radiator shrouds,
Yep.
The bolts being inside is really cool. All the plastic seems really good. Just, I don't like the Torx on the handlebars. We can fix that though, that's fine. That's a McFadden-Dale, and we'll be on our way.
I think it's a solid package. I have a fun time riding it. I don't ride 250Fs a lot, but this actually makes me want to ride a 250F a little bit, do some work to it and see how well it works. They have a Kropovich muffler coming out, so that'll add to some of this already, get you a little bit more top end mid-range pull, and then put some springs in for you and have a good time. Maybe we can convert you one day.
I had a great time. I'm not a test rider. Thank you to Triumph for bringing me out here. Thank you to Kellen for trying to capture my speed on camera. I had a good time, and it was really cool to bench race with all the guys that are here today. Really good time. We made fun of Mr. Side. So yeah, all in all, great day.
One last thing before we wrap this thing up. Some of you guys are wondering about durability. It's a first-year bike. It's a new brand. Hey, Keefer, I want to wait a little while because we don't know the gremlins of this thing. Understood, agreed. I don't blame you guys. I know a little bit about the durability process, even though I'm not involved in that. I kind of know how much time they put in, and the time that they put in, to me, and I've been with other manufacturers and durability teams, it's almost excessive. Some of the things that they've been doing with this machine has exceeded hours than other manufacturers, and they've had all the bikes within the durability process see what breaks. So not to say nothing's going to happen in the machine, but I've seen that process, and It is a hefty durability. Paul Edmondson, if you remember him.
We spoke to him at the World Vets
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
He is in charge of the durability program back in England. So if you remember Paul in his career, he is a tough SOB, and he does the same thing with the durability team. So just wanted to throw that out there. So far, so good. I mean, we only have a couple hours on this thing.
What I think too is we've seen over the years, we don't need to name names, but we've seen brand new motorcycles come out and go racing. And 2 races in, now Dallas was a tough one, but Detroit was 2 races in, you can see this bike is fast, it's competitive, it's got all the components that you want, there's nothing funky about it.
Yeah.
And you know, again, over the years, I've seen a lot of bikes come in and not have success. This company and this bike seem ready for success right out of the gate, and they're doing it right, which can't always be said for every manufacturer that comes in with a brand new model.
Yeah, and just good products on this thing. DID Dirt Star rims, has good hubs, good spokes, and I just feel like it's a solid start to a lot of things. They're going to get into amateur motocross, so they're going to be out. They're going to have a contingency program. So there's a lot of things up ahead. These will be in dealerships, and selected dealerships, I may add. So they're not just going to hand these bikes off to any Triumph dealer that you see a sign on. They're going to have to be approved for off-road. They're going to have to take some courses, and as well, they're going to have to learn a lot about the off-road brand if they're going to be a part of this. So you can go up on triumphmotorcycles.com. There is an ever-evolving list of dealerships that are out there for you guys to look at. And if you guys are worried about parts, I don't know if you'll be able to get parts, they have a whole parts program up on their website. So you simply click on, hey, OEM parts, boom, click your bike. Then you can choose any part that you want, and it'll locate that part for you from any of their dealer networks out there and get it shipped out, kind of like an Amazon from your dealership. So you don't even have to leave. So that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of things up and rolling now that'll be up, finished within about a month or so. And these will be on the dealership floors. I would think they have to be here pretty soon. It's
End of March, I think, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
so they're running, don't quote me, 9,995, so 10 grand. Some of you guys are going to bark on the YouTube comments about the price, but with some of the parts that are coming on here, it's going to have to go up in cost. So it's not the most expensive motorcycle. It's not the least expensive, but I feel like it's in the ballpark enough we don't have to bitch and complain about it. So yeah, good time here at Gatorback today. We're supposed to get some of these back at home, so we'll have this bike at home. We'll be able to talk about it more. Is it breaking? What's going on with it? Evolve it, mods, suspension, and we're going to continue to ride this thing as well. You know how we do it over here. So look for more information over on KeeferInkTesting.com as well as PulpMX.com, and more videos, updates, RacerXOnline.com. If you don't subscribe to the magazine, do that. 12 issues, $30. Steve writes a bunch of cool stuff in there, like he did with Troy Lee. So that is in there, and you get a free calendar or whatever. And we'll see you back. If you have any questions, I know you have a lot of them. Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com. Our virtual door is kicked open for you. Unlike Steve, it's shut, locked. You can't get in there.
Don't email me.
Don't email him.
Kris.
Questions, I'm happy to help you guys. Any questions about the Triumph, and we'll see you on the next video.